Brodes Media.
You got to remember the timeline. As moments go past and as days go through time, there was a timeline, which is blame everybody else. And then once you start getting hit with a bunch of fines financially, that's when the mental health problem came up. This is what doesn't make sense. Ben Simmons claimed today that it was not about the coaches. It was not about the fans. Yet, when you leave said coach and said fans, now all of a sudden, you're revamping yourself and you're getting ready to go play basketball again. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. In what universe can you honestly sit there and say that it wasn't Doc Rivers, it wasn't the fan base, it wasn't the players, when, oh, by the way, your side, Clutch Paul, or Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, were telling all these media members, Ramona Shelburne, and the list goes on and on over the last 5 or 6 months, that the reasons why you were upset was because of Doc Rivers' comments, of Joel Embiid's comment. This is coming from your camp. Your camp is making this public. You were trying to get your information out there. You said this. Your entire team said this. Everyone backing and supporting you and telling it to the media to make it public. You said this. Yet today, now all of a sudden, that's not the case. And then here's something that happens in life, outside of sports, in life in general, okay? When there is a mental health issue happening, and I'm not telling you that that's not a part of life, that's a part of life. If you're talking about a business and a corporation, and you're speaking to the work world out there, you have to provide some sort of documentation. Doesn't need to be detailed. You don't have to release the information to say exactly what's happening, but there has to be some sort of documents saying, I'm going to this mental health coach. I'm going to this therapist. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Why would that just not be part of it, Ben? If I'm Ben Simmons and I'm sitting out and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, it's like, yes, I have a mental health issue. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with saying that because we want everyone to be as healthy as possible. We do think it's extremely important in today's society. So then just show your work. Yes, I am working on it. Absolutely 1,000%. I'm going to these therapists. I'm going to these mental health coaches, and I'm working on it. But there's a reason why you weren't getting those documents, and there's a reason why you weren't sharing this with the Sixers, which is foolish. There's such a major flaw in the argument. But if you're watching from a distance with binoculars, it's the Sixers fans are idiots, and everybody running through the wall to go scream at Ben Simmons, they're all idiots. That's not true. It's just not true. You're losing a billion pieces of the context here. Ben Simmons' story doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It did have to do with the fans. It did have to do with probably Joel Embiid, because when he was asked about it, did you speak to Joel? He said no. Yeah, because you've been throwing him under the bus. You want to talk about throwing under the bus? What a hypocrite. Because Joel got backstabbed big time, left out to dry by you. So he speaks about, yep, I spoke to Tobias, I spoke to Josh Harris, I spoke to Doc Rivers, I didn't speak to Joel. Good for Joel, because I wouldn't have spoken to him either. Absolute fraud, this guy is. I can't believe it. It's an embarrassment. It really is. And I feel that strongly about it. See, this is what it's easy to do. If you disagree with how Ben Simmons approached this and you feel that there's some lining up issues, you're automatically a bad person because you're not just taking his word for it. Ben Simmons had a billion opportunities to absolutely 1,000% show his work. There's reasons why. I'm sorry. Just because somebody says something, that's not on me to just take it for face value when you had multiple occasions of just proving that, yes, there's something going on here. But instead, nope, Nope, I'm not doing anything the Sixers want me to do. Yet what changed, Ben? The only thing that changed was you went to a different team. That's the only thing that changed. And now all of a sudden, it's easy to show up for work. Now all of a sudden, I'm excited to get back on the floor. Am I going crazy here? It's clear as day. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. That's the way I see it. When I'm using all the information and all the data and all the statistics and the entire storyline, requested a trade first, didn't show up, faked a back injury, did show up, half-assed it. I mean, you remember the whole thing. Taking shots at everybody in this organization. And then when it came down to it, it's going to be real interesting to see how the league works this out in terms of his money and how much he got fines. And it opens up the door for some really ugly, ugly, ugly things to happen. And I wouldn't be this fired up and emotional about it, and I wouldn't care as much because you get this reaction all the time. Ben Simmons isn't here anymore, Brodes. Why are you feeling this type of way? I'm feeling this type of way for multiple different reasons, but a big portion of it is we have taken 7,000 strides in the right direction to make sure you are in a good position as a person to get healthy. When you think about what Brandon Brooks did, and then you think about also what Lane Johnson did, if this was his number one priority, you would think instead of just hiding forever and slithering through, it would be a statement earlier, because he made statements today about he was in a dark place and all of it, which, okay, maybe he was in a dark place at some point throughout this journey that he just went on holding out. But don't you think that if you approached it in a way where I got to get right. I'm sorry, Sixers fans. I'm going through a lot right now. This is way before we're in this position now. Way before. I'm talking about situations after Game 7. If he openly admitted, just like Lane Johnson, just like Brandon Brooks, and said, I want to utilize my platform so I know that when other people are going through something similar than I am right now, that I am here for them. And I want them to see that it's okay to go through some struggles. Let me make sure that society, because this is so important to the world, let me be the example. I'm having an issue right now. I am very deeply sorry on the events that happened. I'm sorry. I'm going through a lot, and I will do everything in my power to put myself in the best step moving forward, and I want to be the example. Think about the difference. Instead, I'm getting fined. I don't want to get fined. Oh, no, this is sure I'm getting fined. We have to do something about this, Rich. We got to do something about this, Clutch Sports. Do you see the difference here on how it could have absolutely been handled 5 billion times differently? And by the way, the amount of support you would have had throughout that would have been through the roof. Through the roof. And the reason why you're not getting that now is because of how it's been handled.